Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming, and thanks to everyone who's watching us virtually as we resume now our weekly press conferences starting today, July 9th. Today we're going to cover 4 topics. First, a new campaign to control COVID-19. Second, an update on the active Erie survey. Third, the importance of the 2020 census. And finally, a brief LRTA report. There has been a troubling spike in COVID-19 cases happening within the city over the last several weeks. This spike has had a huge, disproportionate impact on minority residents here in Erie. Jim Donnelly, Vice President of Patient Care Services at UPMC Hammett, shared some startling COVID-19 statistics with us a few weeks ago. So first, I'd like to invite Jim Donnelly to the podium to present his findings and what people should be doing now to stay safe. Jim.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a privilege to represent UPMC Hammett today at this press conference and to talk a little bit about the findings that UPMC Hammett has had through both our collection center and testing, as well as our care of COVID-19 patients at UPMC Hammett. As the mayor mentioned, there has been recently an increase in the number of cases locally that forestalled us going to green. And UPMC Hammett's epidemiology team and infection prevention team studied the local outbreak in detail. And what we found is that there was a concentration of cases in the 16503 zip code area, that is in the Lower East Side, with some extension into the 16504 zip code area. We identified that fully 20+% of the cases that have occurred throughout all of Erie County had occurred within this small area, about 7,000 residents. And so we felt it important to begin to communicate about that and to begin to put together an action plan to deal with that. And very simply, that action plan is about raising awareness or health literacy among the population so that they can protect themselves and in turn protect their families. And this strategy is limited to some very simple things. Wear a mask. Wear a mask everywhere you go, and you can actually go about your normal life with reasonable security, knowing that you're protected and you're protecting others by wearing a mask. Sanitize your hands frequently and keep a social distance of 2 meters or 6 feet from people. That's really all we need to do. And so we engaged with a number of local entities, including a team led by Bishop Brock, a team from the Hammett Health Foundation and the mayor's office to begin to strategize on how we could communicate that. I'd like to thank the mayor and his team for their work in putting together some really very well done, iconic-based messaging using images, right? Because this is a zone of the city where some 6 to 8 languages are spoken. There is a high degree of ethnic diversity there, and we've got to make sure we get a message to the people of that community rapidly so that they can protect themselves and in turn protect their family. It is important to note that COVID-19 impacts older and medically frail individuals at a much more substantial rate than the general population. Indeed, for people over the age of 65, the mortality rate for COVID-19 is 60 times worse than people who are between the ages of 20 and 45. So while young people may be more mobile and more likely to get the disease, the risk is in them bringing it home and giving it to grandma, grandpa. They need to protect their families. They need to monitor themselves for symptoms, a fever, a cough, shortness of breath, and if they have those symptoms, get tested and isolate themselves from the vulnerable populations in the neighborhood and in their family. And I would like to recognize now and turn things back over to the mayor or Bishop Brock. Bishop Brock and his team have volunteered to courageously go forward into that neighborhood and to carry this message forth on a first-person basis. And I think this is going to be a dramatic public health community initiative that will really help us protect our community and improve the health of this section of Erie. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jim. We appreciate what you're bringing our attention to this in the first place and for guiding us on getting the word out to lessen the impact of COVID-19. It is startling that African Americans here in Erie are being infected with COVID-19 at 4 times the rate of white Americans. After learning this, we arranged to present this information to the United Clergy of Erie with Mr. Donnelly, and obviously to all present, we urge the need to get the word out about this health emergency. The city planner, Kathy Rosdick, had been working with Hammett Health Foundation, Serve Erie, and advisors Jackson Clark Associates on a Count Me In initiative on the east side. After learning from Mr. Donnelly's findings, they expanded their support to work alongside the United Clergy of Erie to get this information out to residents in the impacted neighborhoods. The new campaign is called Protect My Family, and it features a toolkit that helps the United Clergy of Erie members and the Count Me In team to make area residents aware of this COVID-19 threat. The toolkit includes handouts, yard signs to remind residents and visitors how to protect themselves from contracting and spreading the virus. This information will also be posted on the City of Erie's website and on social media platforms. Now I'd like to invite Bishop Dwayne Brock to the podium to provide his thoughts and insight on dealing with COVID-19. Bishop Brock.
Thank you very kindly, Your Honor, and thank you to Vice President of Hammett UPMC, Jim Donnelly, and I do recognize the Executive Director, CEO of the Hammett Health Foundation, Boo Haggerty, who's just entered the room. We're talking about saving lives. And as the mayor so adequately stated that this virus is 4 times as high in the African American and minority neighborhood, and that is totally unacceptable. And I want to emphasize that reality, that is unacceptable. And so therefore, as a board member of UPMC Hammett, we have heard the clarion call to step forth and to fight this, this invisible virus. So what we did was we assembled a very impressive team of pastors and gentlemen who have been on the front lines in the city of Erie for a number of years. And they have developed a comprehensive plan to cover the entirety of the 16503 neighborhood, to stress the importance of wearing masks, to express the importance of social distancing, and to stress the importance of being aware of how this virus does not necessarily discriminate. So therefore, we're prepared, we're ready to go, and we're ready to fight this good fight. I have, he is affectionately known as Brother D, Brother Darrell Craig, and who I've asked him to assemble a team that we will all be going from door to door tomorrow. We have impressive members of the Community Blood Bank, and they are with us today, and they're going to join the team and join the family. So we're going to converge on the neighborhood of 16503. We're going to fight this fight. We're going to make the residents aware of the seriousness of this moment, and we're endeavoring to save lives. So at this time, I would like if our team would come forward. Pastor Amos Goodwine is with us from the First Good Samaritan AME Zion Church, Brother D, and of course Bishop Danny Stanton is with us. If they will come forward, and they may have a word to say about the actual coordination of the event tomorrow.
Basically, but first of all, thank you for letting us be here today. For us, the Blue Coats, we had already been out here since the virus hit. I mean, we've already had a team out in the field since for almost 4 months. And we were doing basically the same thing that we plan to do tomorrow. It's trying to cover our community by raising awareness. We went out, we placed signs up that says love covers, safety begins with me, because we noticed that among a certain age group, there just didn't seem to be a sense of urgency about, the protocol, you know, responding to the protocol. You saw people without masks, you saw children without masks. And so Bishop Brock, who I consider a mentor of mine, him and I have been communicating. He knew what we were doing, and he was telling me, just hold on, we're gonna get you some help. I didn't know it would be coming in this form, so much help, and this is so very much encouraging because the Blue Coats can't do it by themselves. I mean, the 16503 area by itself, I doubt if we'll get the whole thing covered tomorrow, but we plan to cover a big chunk by doing exactly what he said, taking the most highly concentrated areas and going door to door, street to street, and just trying to raise awareness, almost pleading with people, hey, take this serious. We've accumulated a number of masks that have been handmade by churches. People have bought masks, donated them to it. I think we got well over 1,500, 1,700 masks loaded up and ready to go. And so with the information that's going to be provided by UPMC, we're hoping to do a double punch thing, because we also understand that during this time of pandemic, there was this rush to protect yourself. Everybody needed to get supplies. Well, that's an impoverished neighborhood. These people don't have $15 for a box of masks every week, every other day. The prices of masks, the prices of hand sanitizer skyrocketed. 8 ounces of hand sanitizer for $14.99. Come on, you know there's price gouging all over the place. So anyway, we just plan to be as much of a help and a presence as possible. Hopefully that will impact the consciousness of those who might not have been taking this as serious. Whatever supplies we have, maybe that'll come in handy, and we'll see at least a drop or a standstill in where the numbers are right now. Thank you.
First of all, I just want to thank the mayor for this opportunity. As a pastor in the city of Erie, as one that has grown, born and raised in Erie, I'm concerned about our young folks as we're facing this epidemic. There appears to us to be a lack of seriousness, and so we are reaching out, and we want them to hear our voice, that we want them to live, that this coronavirus is serious, and we realize that they are receiving mixed messages, but we are trying, with God's help, to instill in them that this is a serious epidemic. They may survive it, but their mother, their father, their grandmother may not. And so we want to reach out to the young folks to let them know that these nighttime partyings on the weekend and no mask and no hand washing and no social distancing, there is a price to pay for ignoring it. And so we're just screaming out to our young folks. We're screaming out to our church members. Most of us are still either live streaming or Facebooking or teleconferencing our morning services, because for us, I know that I have a lot of seniors who are taking care of their grandchildren. And I know that the grandchildren are not paying attention or taking serious the coronavirus. And so it's a ripple effect. And so we're just reaching out, and we thank everybody that's contributing, that's helping us reach out in this community, for it is a serious epidemic that we're dealing with, the pandemic. And so we just want to let our young folks know we love them. As pastors, we're tired of doing funerals. We're tired of coffins and so forth, and we cannot wait until that joyous moment when this has reached its peak and the season is no longer upon us. So I just want to thank everyone for your input, your opportunity, your dedication to this task.
Good morning to everyone that's here today. Just want to say I thank God for just being allowed to be a part of what's going to happen on tomorrow that will carry over for weeks to come. On tomorrow, actually, we will be meeting on the Eagles Nest campus at 9 o'clock, where we'll be giving out some information to those who will be distributing door-to-door knockers and masks as they matriculate through the city of Erie. We'll assemble at 9, and then we'll promptly move at 9:30. What we need from you, City of Erie, is your prayers as we endeavor to inform the community of the seriousness of this coronavirus. contrary to what some people believe, they're not handling their business in the correct manner. We need to inform them of the seriousness and how deadly this virus really is. Some of our youth, I'm not saying they take it as a joke, but it appears as if they're living haphazardly. So we just want to inform them, walk through the community, and let them know that we love them to life, all right?
I think that's it. I see Boo Haggerty, if you come up expeditiously. Okay. Okay. Well, that's it. And I want to thank the mayor. Thank you so much for your presence and your leadership. As my colleague so well stated, that we are tired of doing funerals, and I have had an opportunity to have had a crash course in the coronavirus from Mr. Donnelly and Mr. David Gibbons, president of the hospital, and they gave me some dynamics about the virus that made me change my behavior and the behavior of those up under my judicatory ministry. And so we're hoping that all of the residents and families, not just of the 16503 neighborhood, but of the entirety of the Erie County. We talked with Kathy Dahlkemper yesterday at length, and she was supposed to be here today, but we're hoping and praying and believing that all of Erie County will take this thing seriously. We will make the necessary adjustments, and that we can win this fight and win this battle as citizens of this great city. I think that is about it. Do we have any questions from anyone at all? Or?
Bishop, we'll do those
Sir?
at the end.
Okay,
We got a couple
all
more
right.
items on the agenda. So
Okay, sir.
we'll get through that. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bishop Brock. Really appreciate it. Also, thanks to Reverend Amos Goodwine, Pastor Danny Stanton, and Brother D. Thank you very much for all you're doing. I'd just like to acknowledge a few of my staff members who have also been working very hard on this and are here today. First is Renee Lamus, the Chief of Staff. Behind her is Michael Outlaw, and behind him is Nikan Starry Carpenter. And then we have Frank Stramilla, of course, and Kathy Rosdick. All of them have been working very hard on all of this, the COVID-19 challenge, for a long time. So we really value the leadership of the United Clergy of Erie, especially over these last few weeks with this COVID crisis. We look forward, my staff and I, to continuing working with the United Clergy of Erie to build a community that embraces, empowers, supports, and values all Erie residents. We've heard many heart-wrenching stories of how young family members who may not have even realized they had the virus transmitted it to their grandparents or their great-grandparents, and sadly, it's usually the older generation that requires hospital care and sometimes pass away. This is a tragedy that no family should have to bear. To prevent this, we all have to remember to protect ourselves. Stay home as much as possible. If you're sick, definitely stay home. If you need to leave home, always wear a mask, wash and sanitize your hands frequently, and stay 6 feet away from others. If you travel to a state that's identified as a hot spot, when you get back to Erie, quarantine yourself for 14 days. We can get through this together, and I believe also we can come out of this better than we were before, but we have to get through it first. Okay, next, we're going to talk a little bit about the active transportation survey. Transportation plays a critical role in the Erie community. It connects people to places they need to go and people they need to see. Everyone has a right to get to their destination safely, whether traveling by foot, bicycle, bus, or car. Active forms of transportation like walking or biking provide convenient, healthy, and affordable ways to get around Erie. On June 11th, 2020, City Planner Kathy Rosdick and the transportation firm of Whitman Rickwart Associates, LLP, developed a survey that will make it safer and more convenient for city residents to use methods other than cars to get around Erie. So now I'd like to introduce Kathy Rosdick to tell us more about this survey and what the results it will produce. Kathy.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. That's a very hard act for me to follow. You know, I'm very appreciative of the work that everyone's doing to help stop the spread of COVID-19. But as we have all realized through this very challenging time, life must go on. And before the pandemic started, as the city planner on behalf of the city, we wanted to take a look at what we could do to better prepare our residents and prepare a network, a transportation network that met their needs. So the active Erie planning process began in the fall. We had planned on doing a very vibrant community engagement process where we were going to fairs and festivals and talking to people and knocking on their doors and really engaging people where they lived on how they got around our city. And as we have all know, now times have changed. So we are now heavily dependent on that community engagement through social media, getting the word out through your communication channels, and this online survey. It is not our preferred way of talking to people. I can guarantee you, as I've been on the porch of many alongside the mayor, talking to people in the East Bayfront, Academy Marvintown during our strategic planning processes, that is absolutely our preferred way and the best way to get information and to have people feel comfortable enough to share their thoughts and concerns. But that is not the world we live in at the moment, so we must rely on this survey. So it's vitally important for people who can to take this survey. Provide us your feedback. In addition to the survey, there's some listening sessions. They are virtual sessions that will be held next week. We have pushed this survey link out through our neighborhood watch groups, our neighborhood groups, through the school district. We have a very diverse steering committee that is helping us manage this project. They represent all forms of transportation. But everyone's feedback is vital. And so if you can fill out the survey and give us that feedback, now is the time to do it. The survey is live until July 17th. We will continue the planning work with our steering committee, given the feedback that we receive, and we will have, by the fall, a complete bike, pedestrian, and other ways of transportation planning document for the city to follow over the next decade, really. So please take the survey, please provide input. My email is on the Active Erie website, so if you cannot take the survey, please email me and let me know your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Active Erie will really improve the conditions for people walking and bicycling, especially here in Erie. We envision a network of streets that are beautiful, comfortable, and safe community places where people can enjoy, whether they're walking, riding a bike, taking the bus, or driving a vehicle. Kathy mentioned the survey. That website to go to take the survey is www.activeerie.com. And here's some more good news for you. Those who take the survey are going to be entered in a chance to win one of 5 $100 gift cards from Erie businesses. And the businesses participating include Competitive Gear, Whole Foods Co-op, Country Fair, the Erie Downtown Partnership, and Urbaniacs Quality Meats. We've already awarded 3 of the 5 gift cards, so hurry and provide your input soon. The survey closes next Friday, June 17th, as Kathy mentioned. And she also mentioned the 2 listening sessions that are going to be scheduled next week, and there'll be information on those on the Active Erie website as well. Again, that's activeerie.com is the website. Next today, I want to talk about one of the most important things that we all have to do this year, and that is complete the 2020 census. Every morning, I look forward to hearing the percentage of residents in Erie who've completed the 2020 census. But for several weeks now, the city's numbers have been stuck right around 60% of the people have reported. That means 4 out of every 10 Erie residents has not completed the census yet. For every resident not counted, Erie loses $2,100 in federal funding every year for the next 10 years. Unless we dramatically improve our reporting, our region is going to lose over $1 billion, that's billion with a B, over $1 billion in federal funding over the next year. Over the next 10 years. This funding includes things like for schools, for streets, community centers, neighborhoods, youth programs, senior programs, and college financial aid. All the information you give to the census is kept completely confidential for over 70 years. Your name, your information is never disclosed. There's no reason not to complete the census. There are 3 easy ways to do it. Just visit the website, my2020census.gov. My2020census.gov is the website. Or you can call a phone number, 844-330-2020. Or you can just mail back the form that you received completed. There's only 9 questions you have to answer. My wife and I, and our disabled daughter lives with us as well. We did the census a couple months ago. It took us less than 10 minutes to do it online. Now, every Monday since May 18th, to try to give people an incentive, we've been drawing the names of city residents who complete the census. Each week, those who are randomly selected get $100 gift cards to local restaurants and shops. The deadline to complete the census has been extended to October 31st. So we have extended the city's weekly 2020 Census Prize Package giveaway drawing through the end of October as well. So complete the census today. It gives you a chance to win $100 in gift cards to local small businesses every week for the next 16 weeks. And at the completion of the census, there will be one more drawing from those that completed the census and submitted for $1,000. So to enter, all you have to do is go to my2020census.gov, complete the census, then take a screenshot of your confirmation number that you completed the census, and then email us. The email address is 2020census@erie.pa.us, and give us 4 pieces of information: your name, your City of Erie home address, your phone number, and a photo of your confirmation number. The sooner you enter, the more chances you're going to have to win. Finally today, in the last week, we've had 3 new LERT applications. They're all residential, and the total was $28,947. One of those was for a new deck, one was for a new porch, and one was to construct a new shed. So since July 3rd of last year, we've now had 180 LERT applications for a total of $56,051,487. And that concludes today's press conference. All our speakers are available now for interviews. Thanks very much for being here.